Hello, welcome in. We are here to talk about the newest revealed Mega Pokemon from Pokemon Legends ZA coming out later this year. We were introduced to Mega Victreebel just this morning, a few hours ago. The reveal trailer, seeing this awesome new form of Victreebel. Personally, I love it. This just fat, gluttonous Victreebel who has to wrap his vines around his neck to keep all of that poison in. Just such a fun, quirky design. I'm really loving the direction Game Freak is going with these Mega Pokemon so far. But Mega Victreebel especially, super fun and super interesting. A Pokemon that is not often given as much love as other Gen 1 counterparts. We finally get to see what it can kind of do. We'll see what potential it has in regards to competitive Pokemon, what abilities I think it could have, and just where this Pokemon could be taken from its base state to its Mega. So starting off, we're just going to look at normal Victreebel. Victreebel coming in with Chlorophyll and Gluttony as its abilities. Victreebel is typically just a kind of standard / below average Sun Sweeper Pokemon with Chlorophyll. The main thing is that it has Weather Ball coverage, but its stats really don't lend it a lot of favors just because it's pretty frail. I was going to say it's not frail. It's pretty frail. 80, 65, 70 is not fantastic bulk. And it's also just not that strong. 105, 100. You kind of look to have at least one of those things, and if you don't, you hope you're fast, and base 70 speed isn't great either. I see some draft leagues put Victreebel as high as 6 or 7. I personally lean towards 4 or 3 most of the time. I just don't think it's super threatening. With Terra, it can be interesting, but its move pool leaves a lot to be desired, and that's something we will talk about with the Mega as well. But if you look over here on the right at these these move sets that this Pokemon has, on the physical side, obviously it has 105 attack, which is nice. It has Power Whip, Poison Jab, but no Gunk Shot, which is an issue Mega Beedrill also faces, where they just don't have a super strong move. But Poison Jab has its own pros, and then Knockoff is obviously very good. Leech Life is usable, Sucker Punch is cool because it's a little slow, Trailblaze is a little cool if you're not running Chlorophyll. And then on the special side, it's a little bit weaker and has a little less coverage, but has overall, I'd say, stronger moves. Solar Beam in Sun with Weather Ball giving you fire coverage, so you're not just walled by Steel, which resists both grass and is, of course, immune to its other stab Poison. But you've got Solar Beam, Giga Drain, and Sludge Wave for stabs, which is good, and then Weather Ball, which is obviously great coverage. And then I also put Clear Smog on here. I think it'd be interesting for a more bulky version. And then as far as status goes, you have Synthesis, which in the Sun is good, but you're not bulky enough to really truly take advantage of that. Sleep Powder, which is a good move, but is inaccurate. Strength Sap, which is a very, very strong move and could be very interesting on a more bulky Victreebel variant. Growth, which obviously boosts it to either be a special, physical, or mixed sweeper in the Sun, which I think is where a lot of the value for Victreebel comes, is a kind of mixed Solar Beam, Weather Ball, knockoff / Poison Jab or Sludge Wave set with Growth. Any mix of those depending on your matchup, I think is where Victreebel really shines if it is going to shine. It is interesting with Terra. It does have Terra Blast, which could be relevant for Mega Victreebel. Who knows? But starting off, I'd assume it can't. It can't Terra. But looking at some of comparisons of other Mega Pokemon, similar to what we did with Dragonite, I think the only two comparisons that are even able to be made are Venusaur is obviously the first one. I think Venusaur is the most simple one. And then I put Abomasnow. There's some other grass and poison megas. There's Beedrill, but Beedrill's min-max to all hell. It's just so bad in its base form. And then there's also Sceptile, but Sceptile's so fast and is getting a dragon typing. It's just kind of different. It's already fast as base. And then Gengar, I guess, but obviously just very different from Victreebel, very different quality of Pokemon. But starting here with Venusaur, Venusaur typically is about an 8-point Pokemon. It's okay, it's a good Sun Sweeper. It's actually very similar to Victreebel. I'd say it's better than Victreebel in just about every way. It's faster, it's bulkier, it's strong. It's a tiny bit weaker, but with growth and then better coverage, having Earth Power, Weather Ball, Sludge Bomb. Mainly Earth Power is the big one there. But when it megas, Venusaur no longer has Chlorophyll, which is notable. It completely changes role. With Thick Fat, it takes away its ice and fire weakness, make those neutralities. And then Venusaur Mega is pretty bulky, 80, 123, 120. Mega Venusaur is a top tier defensive Pokemon in Draft League. Super, super strong. It's only weak to Psychic and Flying, which are not super, super common offensive typings. Psychic is a little bit, but you can usually have easy defensive checks with other Psychic types, Dark types, or Steel types, so it's really easy to pair in a strong core with other Pokemon. So Grass Poison is a strong defensive typing on paper, which could make Mega Victreebel kind of interesting as we look more into it. The other Pokemon I brought up here is Mega Abomasnow. This is kind of like the best and worst of what you could do with this archetype. Abomasnow's stats are actually pretty similar to Victreebel off rip. It's a little slower, it's a tiny bit bulkier, it's got more HP really, but it has a god-awful typing, and then of course Abomasnow's whole thing is snow instead of sun. It's not a sweeper, it's a setter. But Abomasnow really sucks, and Mega Abomasnow also really sucks. It's honestly maybe worse than normal Abomasnow, although it's getting 40 attack, 40 special attack, and 30 in both bulks, which is cool. Like, admittedly very cool. It's still a snow setter. Not being able to hold Light Clay for Aurora Veil really holds it back. Sometimes you want to bury, but really Light Clay or Boots even are all relevant on Mega Abomasnow. Grass Ice is just not a good typing. That bulk really doesn't help it out because it just has so many weaknesses between Grass, Ice, and both. So Abomasnow is kind of like what we're hoping doesn't happen to Victreebel, and Venusaur is kind of what we're hoping does happen to Victreebel. Moving on, we've got kind of a comparison between Victreebel and what I think Mega Victreebel could look like. I've got some stat ranges here. Obviously the HP isn't going to change. It never changes on Megas. The attack, I could see them either lowering it and leaning more into a special side. The design of Mega Venusaur itself, Mega Victreebel rather, apologize, lends itself kind of more specially to me. Although I wouldn't say normal Victreebel leans itself to an attack variant, a physical variant to me. But Mega Victreebel, in all the trailers we were shown this morning, it was just spewing poison, just spewing. It was not attacking, it wasn't whipping, it wasn't jabbing. It was spewing poison, like it was Sludge Wave, Sludge Bombs, that type of action. So I could see them leaning more into a special attacking variant, which is why I do have special attack kind of only staying the same or going up. I don't see them taking away from special attack, even though it's a physical attacker off rip. I could also see them obviously adding a lot to defense, adding a lot to Spadef. I think that would help this Pokemon tremendously. And then I think there's some worlds where I think most worlds they leave the speed alone. I think some worlds, if you lean into a more bulky type, you could take away some speed like you did with Abomasnow to kind of allow you to add more base stats and help this Pokemon out, because you're only allowed to add 100 total unless you're taking away stats from other spots. So with Mega Abomasnow, they took away 30 speed, which allows them to spec that into like special attack or bulk. So they could take away speed from Victreebel, especially if they're taking away Chlorophyll. I could see that totally happening. But if they're keeping Chlorophyll, I could totally see them bumping the speed up just a little bit, maybe up to 90 max. Moving on to our concept, or our ability speculation. I came up with quite a few actually here. I think there's a lot of options for Mega Victreebel. I keep saying Mega Venusaur. Mega Victreebel, starting with Toxic Debris, which is currently Glamora's signature ability. It does kind of have that belly where, like, if you touch the belly, maybe it spews out toxic spikes. Could be interesting. Neutralizing gas. I've got some of these quotes from the trailer this morning over here, but you've got, the smell kind of being impactful and making them feel things, dizzy, lights, kind of, maybe it's neutralizing them. I don't know. Kind of a reach. Corrosion is the most popular speculated one right now, and I think it is the most likely if they're changing the ability is Corrosion. I've got this image here on the right where the poison is going through the metal, which is exactly what Corrosion does as an ability. It allows you to toxic and poison steel and poison types. So it's exactly what Corrosion does. That's what the image shows, but that could also just be fun artistic choices, so you never know. I also marked down here offensive Corrosion, which is something, but offensive Corrosion being, instead of just being able to poison those types, you can hit them for neutral or maybe even super effective damage if they're feeling crazy, where you can hit steel types with poison moves and poison types with poison moves and do good damage, or at least unresisted damage, would completely change everything about Victreebel, because the biggest thing holding it back is that lacking coverage moveset where you're just banking on Weather Ball and that's it. Poison Puppeteer I only put here because of this second quote, I'm starting to feel dizzy, which Poison Puppeteer, when you get poisoned, you then get confused as well. It's Pecharunt's signature ability. Do I think they'd really take away from a mythical or legendary's signature ability for Mega Victreebel? Probably not, but that second quote really made me instantly think of Poison Puppeteer. And then Poison Point, just kind of standard poison ability. I don't know, probably not. It would be really boring. Regenerator, they do like to give to some of these grass types sometime. Tangrowth, Amoonguss shares the same typing. Maybe if they really wanted to juice Victreebel a little bit, could be interesting, but they would have to make it more bulky than it is currently, or else it would still suck. And then chlorophyll here at the bottom. I think it's probably the most likely ability. They just leave chlorophyll and make this thing a cool sun sweeper. The only thing that like really pushes me away from that is the design of it. It's just very bulky looking and very fat and slow looking. But you never know. They do whatever they want sometimes. Moving on to our concepts, we start with concept 1. We've just got the well-rounded standard Mega Evolution, kind of like this is like your copy-paste. You're adding 10 to attack, you're adding 20 to special attack, you're adding 35 to SPDEF, you're adding 35 to defense, and then you're not touching speed. I think just, yeah, you're kind of well-rounding this thing out. It would have 4 stats above 100, which would be nice. This would make it bulky. 80, 110, and 105. It's pretty solid bulk off the rip. 70 speed if you keep that. If you keep chlorophyll, obviously you could put any ability on this. You could put corrosion on this as well, and it would be effectively the same. But if you give it this bulk, it's definitely worth using. It's hard because it doesn't have an item. But if you gave it this special attack and this attack allowed it to still be mixed, you could definitely make some interesting like strength sap, knockoff, sludge bomb type of sets, but you do really lack the coverage. And if this thing doesn't get any new moves in ZA, which we have no idea if Pokemon will get new moves, we don't even know if they're going to get abilities. I think it's confirmed they won't get abilities, but I'm assuming when they get ported to Champions later this year or next year that they will automatically get abilities then. What was I saying? Oh yeah, it really needs more coverage. It needs a ground type move, a fighting type move, anything to hit a steel type move. A steel type Pokemon would be fantastic to start, but I could see them just going with this well-rounded build where they're just giving it a little bit in the attacks, a good bit in bulk, just because it's so frail. It would still lean it more offensively, having higher stacks in attack and special attack, and then you'd still have the speed with chlorophyll. So I think this would be okay. This would probably end up finding itself to be, if it had chlorophyll, would still find its way being to maybe a 10-pointer because it still has weather ball. You could set sun. My leagues often ban weather rocks, so if this thing isn't setting for itself, it won't have that many turns. But with this bulk, you could probably set for yourself. You could even do a sunny day growth synthesis 1-attack set. That could be kind of interesting if it had an interesting neutral matchup into your opponent. I also, by the way, I forgot to mention this. I think grass poison is staying no matter what. I think it's still a grass poison type. I really don't think there's much controversial about that. Next, our second concept is a more offensive build where they're only giving it kind of dissimilar to the opposite one where I was only adding 10 to attacks. We're only adding 10 to defense. So you're still keeping this thing frail. You're making it a little bulkier. It can take maybe a hit. I don't know about a fire type hit in the sun. But then you're giving it 30 in attack and then 40 in special attack and 20 in speed. Would make this thing really fast under sun. It would make this fast outside of sun. Like this one, if you gave it the offensive corrosion ability, could be really interesting. 140 special attack, like I said with the design, I really think it looks more like a special attacker. It looks like it's got that water spout, but for poison, it just looks slow and like it can't really hit you. So I think it'll be a special attacker. That's just where my heart lies. But of course, they could still keep it a physical attacker. Our next, and with this one, I think this one would be a little worse than the one well, it would be a really strong Sun Sweeper. It just wouldn't be able to, I just feel like it would be easily revenged. You probably, with 90 base speed, can't revenge it with Scarfers if you're investing in speed. So it could be pretty good, actually. Maybe an 11-pointer, maybe a little better than the last one. For Concept 3, we've got this special variant where it's leaning into its special side. It's only adding 20 in physical bulk. It's losing 10 attack, not touching the speed, but you're gaining 50 in SPDEF and 40 in special attack. I think I would really like to see this one, especially if they're taking away chlorophyll. I really want them to invest more in the bulk or like min-maxing than keeping both attacking stats alive and healthy. Just make it a special attacker or just make it a physical attacker. And then give it some bulk on at least one side so you can use it to check certain things. You know, you're running against a strong water type that hopefully doesn't have ice coverage. You know, you can spec it in SPDEF. And I mean, honestly, with 80 HP, 120 SPDEF, if you're fighting like a Blastoise, for example, like you're probably not taking Shell Smash +2s, but you're probably taking Ice Beams fairly well without any boosting. So it could be interesting if you're just a good SPDEF tank or just a good PhysDef tank. I think this one would be interesting. Probably not as like, the thing with the chlorophyll version, if they're going to keep chlorophyll, it's going to be drafted less than if they give it something else, is my opinion. Because chlorophyll mons just don't, it's only for one type of build. There's only one type of team drafting them per draft. There aren't multiple people fighting over sun. And if this thing isn't given that bulk, it's not going to be able to set its own sun. So it'll be interesting. I think it is stronger, though, if it has chlorophyll. I think chlorophyll is just such a strong ability. So if they do give it that, I think it will be really, really strong. But I just don't think we'll see it very much, is kind of what I think. I think it'll find itself in like that Lilligant Hisui range where everyone knows it's kind of good. It's got sweeping potential in the sun, but people don't really want to draft sun, or, you know, in my league I restrict weather rocks, which really hurts people wanting to draft weather. And it's just also limited. It's also predictable. It's very strong. I just think if they give it that chlorophyll offensive set, we will not see Mega Victreebel very often. But if they give it something like this, I could see this Pokemon being drafted for 10 points, like most drafts. Just strong specially, strong spadefly. Could be interesting. And then lastly, the last concept I have is bulk maxed. We've got it here with corrosion, clicking toxic, you know, whatever, clicking sleep powder, clicking strength sap on this set would be crazy. Take away that speed, make it 40 base speed, make it slow, but give it a ton of bulk in both sides. 80, 125, 130 is quite bulky with a solid defensive typing, and then give it a little bit of special attack, take away that attack. This is the min-maxing we need. Take away the attack, add it to the special attack, make this thing relevant with Sludge Bomb and Giga Drain, and then give it the utility and the ability to use the utility. This Pokemon would be really cool. It would be super annoying, right? Super, super bulky. It would be hard to kill without super effective moves. And then it can poison your steel types. So even like though its moveset is going to be walled by steel types with grass and poison only moves, you could still just be clicking toxic the entire game with this thing, which would be really interesting. I would like to see corrosion on another Pokemon, even though I hate Salazzle and I hate playing against Salazzle. But I think a slower version would be interesting because it's not going to protect substitute spam. Well, with this bulk, I guess it could. I don't know. I'm just thinking off the dome, but this would be pretty crazy. I think this would end up being closer to Mega Venusaur than anything else. While it's not as dominating as Mega Venusaur because it has a lot more weaknesses and it is easily walled without something like Earth Power or fighting or ground coverage or fire coverage, anything to hit a steel type, it would be more wallable. So I think it would still find itself in that 11, 12 point range, but people would hate it. And I think that'd be interesting for this goofy guy. So I look forward to Mega Victreebel. I love the design. Super excited to see this as well as all the new Megas and how they apply to Draft League. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And please check out my Mega Dragonite video if you haven't already. And I will be making videos for all of the other Legends EA Megas that come out in the future. So please stay tuned, subscribe, whatever, you know the business. See ya.